In order to break cycles, intentional actions must be taken to stop patterns, behaviors, and thoughts that are harmful to oneself, their families, and the community. Welcome to Carry to Full Terms Breaking Cycles podcast. On any given night in the United States, more than 47,000 women and children experience homelessness. We have been doing this work since 2014 to reduce the number of women and children currently experiencing homelessness within our communities and throughout the United States. Welcome to Carry to Full Terms Breaking Cycles podcast. We're excited to have you here along with us for our second episode. In studio with us, we have Dr. Sabrina Ricks. She's a friend and supporter of Carry to Full Term. She's also a professor at Northern Virginia Community College and the founder of SBR Leadership. This organization was founded to educate and to provide resources to combat adult bullying in the workplace. She will share a lot more about that with us, but we're excited to have her here in studio with us. Welcome, Dr. Ricks. We can't wait to learn more about SBR leadership, and we can't wait to hear more about the benefits of getting a college education and the ease at which students can transition from the community college to a four-year university. Thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you in studio with us, and I can't wait to get started. Thank you for tuning in, and give a warm welcome to Dr. Sabrina Ricks. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone who has tuned in and who's listening to us, this conversation, the purpose of this podcast is, our goal is to educate anyone within our listening audience with some of the information or all the information that we present, and to thank our partners, our donors, our community, and to highlight the work that we do and to share stories around breaking cycles, whether it's a resident that has been here or whether we've supported a resident through their breaking cycle process or some cycles in our own lives, whether it's personal or professional or any other area that we would like to highlight on this podcast. The goal is to share our stories and to inform and educate our community about the work that we do. So welcome, Dr. Ricks.
Thank you.
Okay, I elevated my volume again. So welcome, Dr. Ricks. I am so excited to have you. First of all, let's just begin with getting to know you. And of course, I know who you are, but let's get our audience introduced to you, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, aside from the fact that you look absolutely cute.
Thank you so much, Ms. Franson. It's such a pleasure to be here on this afternoon with you.
Yes.
I happen to be the president of my own small business. It's called SBR Workplace Leadership Services. It was launched back in 2015, so we're coming up on an 8-year anniversary. The focus of my business is to alleviate workplace bullying and to create healthy organizational cultures in workplaces throughout the country. I am an associate professor for Northern Virginia Community College. I work in the business department. I happen to sit on the Board of Regents for Leadership Prince William, and I sit on the Transformational Healing Circles Advisory Board for NOVA as well. And again, it's a pleasure to be here today.
And talk about somebody who is not busy. Wow, it's really impressive, all the work that you do. So Dr. Ricks, I know this conversation is going to go by really fast, but I just want to touch on all the elements of the work that you're involved in. So you've given us a highlight. What prompted you to start SBR?
Oh goodness, that was coming off the heels of having experienced workplace bullying personally.
Okay.
When I came into the workforce, I don't want to give out too much.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. I just want you to know that there are boundaries here, and so you could apply your boundaries. Just tell us a little bit at the high level about SBR. Yeah.
A long time ago, when I came into the workforce, like with many people who are graduating with undergraduate degrees and whatnot, you don't know what to expect when you're coming into a workplace, and when I came in, I found very early on that I wasn't always accepted in workplaces.
Wow. Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. I felt like I was checking all the right boxes. I would show up to work early. I'd do everything I needed to do to meet and exceed expectations.
Yeah.
I would stay late. And yet I was still having really bad experiences with my coworkers and in some cases with my supervisor.
Oh, wow.
And so during that time, I was also working on a master's degree. I completed that program and graduated. I went on to work on a PhD. And as many are aware, when you're working on a PhD, you have to focus in on a certain area
Yes.
of passion.
Mhm.
So for me, this became a passion.
Yes.
Because I was trying to figure out what is wrong with me,
Aww.
basically.
Yeah.
And in that, that's when I discovered what workplace bullying was.
Wow.
And so I was literally being targeted from workplace to workplace. These people had no association with each other. They didn't know, oh, this is the person you should pick on when they come work for you. But this was just naturally happening. And so I found out that I happened to have some personality traits, good or bad, that some people looked at as an intimidation factor to them. So they saw me as a person who was doing my job so well that I could potentially take their job, and that scared them. So they tried to find ways in which to try to get me in trouble or to quit or, fired or many different things. And I went through all of those different things actually. So it was after going through those experiences that I decided to do the research on workplace bullying, identify what it was, and then try to work to figure out how to alleviate it on organizations.
I think I've heard the phrase, out of pain comes purpose. And in what I know about you, Dr. Ricks, you are very meticulous, you're super organized, you're very dedicated to the thing that you commit yourself to, and you bring your whole self to the table. And I actually could see how that could be intimidating for someone that's not really versed in what they're doing, that's not really organized, or in addition to all of those, like, you set the standard for what this role that you're in will require. And unfortunately, in our, like you're saying, when you just come out of school, you have packaged ideas of what the workforce is going to be like. But one of the things that you do is you bring your level of excellence to the table. And I agree with you, a lot of that, especially when you come to the table with your full self. And you do that. And so I agree, and I can understand how that can be seen rather than a benefit as an intimidation. And so I've had the pleasure and the privilege of having you bring that to Carry the Full Term as our board member. And so, we're not as mature in our existence as you are. So congratulations on the anniversary that you've celebrated, and you're coming up with SBR. We just recently celebrated our 7th anniversary, and so we're a toddler, we're a tiny youth, and so we're going through evolutions that a lot of us are not used to or not familiar with. But you have now brought all that experience that you are putting to use at Carry the Full Term. And so our board is made up of a diverse group of individuals with a diverse skill set, and that's beneficial to the organization. And as a nonprofit organization, boards are critical to the survival and sustainability of the nonprofit. And our board now provides oversight, and they have a fiduciary responsibility, but a level of leadership and professionalism that's brought into the community. So in your time as a board member at Carry the Full Term, just tell us a little bit about your experience and what that has been like with what you've gone through, and then now being able to put those hardship as a benefit that this organization can use, because we're in the stages of where it's a resource to us.
Sure, absolutely. Boards have a very difficult job in really trying to steer an organization that, for many conflict of interest reasons, you can't be but so close to, but you need to be, there's a healthy balance as to how close you can really be. Yeah. And, based on my experience with Carry the Full Term, when I came into this organization, and just to kind of give a little bit of background about that, I had met you approximately 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You reached out and you asked me to speak at a Jazz on the Lawn event.
Yes.
And so I had come out here, and at that point in time, that was my first time ever hearing of this organization. It was my first time ever hearing of a mission like this, to provide long-term housing for pregnant women, homeless pregnant women. I had never heard of anything like that before, and to really come into the realization that there were individuals in our world that even existed in that capacity was, in all honesty, something I had not given a lot of thought to.
Wow.
So it was very eye-opening for me to step into the Jasmine on that day and to hear your story about how you got started. You talked about bringing homeless women into your home. All of that was such, I mean, it grabbed my heart in such a way. And I remember coming up to you.
I remember.
At the end of the meeting that day, and I was so touched. And granted, you know, I don't have limited resources, but I was like, Miss Fred, I don't know what I'm going to do to help you.
I remember
but
that
I
conversation.
will find a way
Yes.
to help you. This is absolutely amazing what you do. Carry to Full Term is amazing, and I just want to be a part of it.
Yes.
And so my way in being able to do that was not very long after that I ended up becoming a part of the class of 2022 for Leadership Prince William. And our class, it consists of approximately 30 individuals, and we are tasked with finding an organization that we would like to dedicate our time and our money and our resources to. And so we had approximately $10,000 that we could put toward an organization in order to help them. And so I pitched Carry to Full Term, and other classmates pitched other different companies and whatnot, and Carry to Full Term was selected. And so that ended up becoming our class project focus for the class. And my apologies, I have an eyelash that's gotten into my eye. But anyway, so during that time, I was the project manager on our project, and so you and I got an opportunity to work closely together. And so it was during that time that I realized I really think that there's more that I could bring to this organization. I don't want this project to end in May and then, oh, we just all walk away from it and that was fun. No, I want to actually be able to still contribute, to still see this mission flourish and come to pass. And so that's how I ended up becoming a part of the board of directors. And you know, since then I've constantly pitched Carry to Full Term as many places as I can. I've had an opportunity to meet with, who was it? I went to meet with, was it the governor, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah.
You did. You met the governor and you met the attorney general. You actually did.
So I was absolutely beside myself with those opportunities, but yes, to be able to present Carry to Full Term to them and be able to get some guidance and direction and, you know, get their people on board with trying to assist us was all very exciting. And so as much as possible, I continue to put Carry to Full Term in front of as many organizations as I can to see what resources we can pull from where in order to make this organization as wonderful as it can be.
And I appreciate that. There's so much to go back in. There's so many little beautiful nuggets. I can't wait to backtrack on some of that. I truly agree with that, and I will even venture to add that you have continued to do that. You've tapped into your resources, and you've continued to support the organization. And so on the board, our contribution looks different. Everyone brings a different element to the board. So that's why you need diversity on the board. You need diversity of individuals, a diversity of experiences, diverse skill set. And so yes, at the time when we met, I had not heard of you. I kid you not. We have had this conversation too, so I'm going to tell the people. And I did not know of you. I was looking for a speaker, and I go through a variety of tools and use a variety of resources, and then I'm always on Facebook because we have to be, and I have my personal accounts on there as well. And I was looking, and I kid you not, in the ad column, your picture popped up. And I was just like, who is that? And I clicked on it, and I'm like, she's in Prince William County? How did I not know? And that's how our relationship started. And I had heard of Leadership Prince William, but I learned and became extremely familiar with the impact of Leadership Prince William after your involvement. I remember the email came and you said, or the call came and you had to pitch. And even after you said that Carry to Full Term was selected for Leadership Prince William community project, I still had no idea what that meant. And then I started attending the meetings that you were leading, and I was like, my gosh, this is like a lot more than my mind even would put together. And I still didn't get it. I mean, I was just like, because I didn't have the full access to all the committees, I just had access to yours. And then the day of the event, May 16th, I will not forget. The people descended on Carry to Full Term, and you have left such a mark. It is the mark that shows up every day in our experiences when we enter the house. It's the first thing the moms experience when they move in. It's the welcoming feel that the house has, and we've gone through a variety of iterations for how the house have been decorated. But Leadership Prince William came in and got rid of very harsh colors that we had in there and put in welcoming colors decorative pieces, inviting pieces of rugs, painted, repaired, installed, changed. The whole community, it seemed like just a community of people just came, and the investment that was made that day, we are living off of that in a variety of ways. So that's when and so now I know Leadership Prince William. I'm very familiar. I follow the class of 2023. So yes, you've done an incredible job, and not only introducing that major or amazing community to carry the full term, but you've continued to do so. And so when you said, our mission and how you got involved, you also introduced the whole organization to something so much more valuable, so much more powerful. And we just thought we were meeting each other as hi and hello, and we'll grow on this. And it has just been very beautiful. One of the things that you also said, you had to find a way to be involved, and your role on the board. Our job is now, aside from leaders and community organizers, we're now advocates for a mission for a population that people really don't necessarily know about. So one of the categories of homeless people that we serve is the hidden homeless. A lot of people don't know that there are 4 different types of homeless categories. There's chronic, there's intermittent, there's transitional, and then there's hidden, our population. And they're so appropriately named because they're not seen, they're usually not counted, they're often excluded from major national statistics, they're rarely included in the point in time count, which is also known as the PIC count, and that's because they're either in hotels, they're sleeping on friends' couches, on grandma's floor, or they're staying for short periods of time, being heavily dependent on family and friends, but they're very short stays. And sometimes the mindset of those individuals is that they're not homeless, right, but they don't have any permanent residence. And so as a board member, the job now is you're an advocate, and we're advocating. So in that role, and like you said, you had an opportunity to present Carry the Full Term to the Attorney General and to the Governor's office. How have you found the reception of this information and the knowledge that you've been sharing about Carry the Full Term to be received from the individuals that you're sharing, or the communities that you're sharing them with?
Right, like with me, I think there's a lot of people, and I can't obviously speak for everybody, but I think there's a lot of people that kind of had the same mindset that I did coming in, and it wasn't a population of people that was top of mind for you.
Right.
So when I'm talking to these groups, it's to them also like an aha, eye-opening moment.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh my goodness, I had never even considered this group of people before. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. Let me do some digging, let me do some research and see, what we can do to help. And I think that in the same way that my heart was touched, their hearts are touched too. And it's like, well, what can I do? Like, even if I can't, necessarily get you money, maybe I can get you some volunteers. And they're trying to figure out, where can I help? Like, I can't do everything, but I can do something.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, and it also is very interesting to hear, because in my mind, when we are so passionate about the work that we're doing, in our mind's eye, everyone is aware of what we're doing, everyone knows what we're doing, and then you meet people who are just a few feet away from you, like, I've never heard of your existence before. So as an advocate, you are doing the work, you're out there, but I want to go back in your introduction and touch on, you've shared so many things. I remember back in the 80s and throughout the 90s, bullying has been like a staple, a pillar within like the educational system for helping young people adjust. And now we could actually touch on the suicide rate that's gone up because bullying has now evolved and it has transformed. And with social media and cyberbullying, it's not just amongst young people or school-age kids. You've experienced it firsthand, and the experience have created a business to deal and address that. So before I go on to ask about the educational environment, tell us where we can get information that you are putting out, that your organization is putting out on the workforce and the workplace bullying?
The primary place that you can go is my website, which is sbrleadership.com. I also partner with Prince William Living Magazine, and so I've had a column with them for a little over 2 years now called Workplace Leadership.
Workplace Leadership, that's the column with Prince William Living Magazine?
Yes. And so you can go to princewilliamliving.com. That is published by Rebecca Barnes. And there is a column that comes out every month that I write for, and also my contact information is there. I recently completed an interview with Shondaland, my producer Shonda Rhimes, and they will be releasing an article from me within, I believe, this month in August.
Oh my gosh, did you guys hear that? Say that again, Dr. Ricks. You said that too softly. What was that again?
And so I've been working with a writer from Shondaland.com, which is led by producer Shonda Rhimes, and they recently interviewed me and will be releasing that interview this month. So stay tuned, and so they will also be providing some information on how to stay in touch with me going forward.
We cannot wait. We're now super fans. So Dr. Ricks, thank you for, wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Well deserved. Well deserved on a topic that needs to be amplified even more. And so I pray and I hope that this conversation that we're having right now will also continue to shine the light on workplace bullying. And actually, as you were saying that, it reminded me of something. Like you said, you did everything right. You worked harder than everyone else. You showed up early. You stayed late. You questioned yourself, like, is something wrong with you? And I remember recently being introduced to the soft life movement. And there are a variety of elements to it, but one of the elements that the soft life is shining a light on and ushering into our space and vision and frame of existence is all the things you just touched on. And now taking ownership of that, which of course you're now doing through SBR, but working manageable hours with excellence. But not being worked to the bone where you have to get to a place where you're questioning, are you good enough?
Right.
Is your self-worth now, able to match the needs of individuals, as you were just explaining, who are the bar moves for what excellence looks like. And so the soft life is introducing those types of workplace contributions on a platform of excellence, but according to your terms, how it validates your humanity.
Right.
And so you've even taken that a step further. You've gone on and you've started SBR. So thank you for sharing where that can be found. So, and you are also an associate professor at Northern Virginia Community College. And not only do you teach there, but you also sit on the Board of Regents. So you believe so much in education that you are now taking an active role in providing the framework and support and guidance for how that's being delivered at the university level. So one of our 6 objectives at Carry the Full Term in assisting women who are pregnant and once homeless is around education. And so that objective is for continuing the education and building on the education that they've had, or finding a career path to have them get jobs that are better than the minimum wage paying job. I am not against minimum wage jobs. I believe in employment, which is what we enforce and reiterate here with our residents, but all those have to be taught. So what I'm getting ready to ask you is, I'm framing all of this for you to share the value and the information that or access that education grants us. Not just at the high school or finishing it, but now you are at the higher institute of learning. Just tell us what made you, first of all, go and get into higher education, but what has that been like for you?
Education is such a powerful entity in our society, and I think that sometimes it's taken for granted that it's just always there, and the earlier you can take advantage of that education, the better, to really set yourself up for success as far as in the career world. How I got involved in education, honestly, it was just something I was born with. You can go back and ask my mom. I was a play teacher as a kid.
You beat the plants.
I had little, paper, and I've always been a paper person. So I would make assignments, I would complete the assignments, I would grade them. I did all of it. education since I was a kid.
Yes.
And I didn't know, exactly how to get into it as I was growing up. And I was going a lot of different directions, of course, as I was finding myself, just like any young person does when they're in their, teens and 20s. And so it took a while for me to circle back around to that passion, if you will. And so I was a little late getting into the world of education, and I actually didn't start until about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so, being at Nova now, or just working in higher education in general, and knowing what it does to impact the lives of young people, I can certainly better see and understand and hope that the young people that are coming up in today's society really can understand and also grasp the importance of education. I was just looking at the news yesterday, and it was talking about, how young people are not prepared. They're not prepared for the workforce. They don't have soft skills. And that's because they're not getting everything that they should be getting, not just at a higher educational level, but also just at a grade school level.
Wow.
There's so many more tools that they need to be getting, and so we as instructors, as educators, have to work harder to make sure that we're really preparing our young people for the workforce, and that they're not coming in the workplace unprepared on how to do simple things like just present themselves professionally, how to answer a phone call, how to respond to a conflict with a customer, just simple things that we're really missing the mark on, but we can do better. We can better prepare our young folks to be able to really enter the workforce and hit the ground running and soar in the things in which they're passionate about. And also helping to guide them on how to find what those passions are if they're not sure what those are.
Right.
So we're, working really hard now at this level, and I know that mine happens to also be a grade school level teacher. So I know that both sides are working really hard to make sure that young people are best prepared. But it's just something that they have to be willing to grasp, and we have to be willing to give it to them so that we can meet each other in the middle and prepare our workforces the way that they need to be prepared as we move forward in the future.
Well, thank you for that, Dr. Ricks. I know here, as we're teaching moms to transition from a life of homelessness and everything you just shared, I understand how difficult it is to have that transition take place mentally from, from concept to reality. But I never actually really took it beyond my information on my relationship with my children, or in the work that we do here at Care to Full Term with the residents, but the general population at large, and how much harder that job is for our educators. So thank you for highlighting that, and I will think on that just a little bit more, because yes, we understand the challenges, and we actually put, like you're saying, put some features in place. So we employ the resource of volunteers by providing tutoring support to our residents, whether it's to help them continue their high school education and attain a GED or diploma. And then we also provide support to residents where there is a language barrier. But like you were saying, we just take it for granted that education is, I grew up in the Caribbean, and at the time when I was growing up, everyone didn't have access to high school. You had to pass the common entrance exam, and I was 10 years old when I had taken it 3 times. It's like the SATs equivalent to get from grade school to high school. So, and when you're saying it's easy to take it for granted, if you didn't pass the common entrance exam by 10 or maybe minimal 11 years old in Dominica, you now had to choose a career. And those careers were very limited. It was farming, becoming a parent, a mom or a father, and it varied for men. So mostly for women, it was like becoming a mother or a teacher or a nurse, or other type of service-oriented jobs like maid service work or service-oriented work. And so you're right, it's easy to take that for granted. But what I also wanted to underscore is, I appreciate how the United States have made education available, at least at the grade school level, available to all. So thank you for underscoring that, and we'll spend a little bit more time just making sure that that is something we implement on our side when we're doing the work of breaking cycles at Care
And
to
just
Full
to put in
Term.
a plug, and I
Yeah,
don't
go
mean to
ahead.
interrupt you, but community college is also open to all. So it's not like you have to pass any entrance exam or anything like that.
Thank you.
So if you want to go to community college, you come and see us over at Nova, and we would be happy to have you.
And we will say that again, community college is open
It's open to all.
to all. Again, barriers do not exist when it comes to education in terms of finishing grade school and then going the route of community college. And I think our community colleges in the state of Virginia, at least Northern Virginia Community College, there's a pathway to the four-year institution, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
that's not even a barrier either.
There are opportunities for guaranteed admission. We have a very good partnership with George Mason University. So yes, you absolutely can have a direct path into a four-year university.
And I know you shared with us about your own workplace experience, but as a woman, as a leader, as a business owner, in a professional environment, what are some challenges that you faced, and what did you do to overcome them to break cycles that have now allowed you to have a more forward-thinking mindset on how you're going to navigate the workspace or your future or your other career?
Yes, there's a lot of challenges, too many for me to discuss in this moment. But there are a lot of times that as a woman, you're not taken seriously. There are assumptions made about you without people taking the time to actually get to know you.
Yeah.
So as women, of course, we might be single parents, we may have a spouse, we may have parents at home that we're taking care of. So there's so many different challenges that a woman or a man could have, really, but with women a lot of times it's put on us that we're going to be the one that's doing these things, that we're taking care of the children, that we're cooking dinner, getting homework prepared, giving baths, making sure the spouse is taken care of, making sure that your parents, if they live with you, are taken care of. So there's all these different things, so then we're discounted that we actually can do the job.
Yeah.
That we actually still have strength left or energy left or whatever have you, or that we even should be in the workplace for that matter, for those people that maybe have an older traditional type of mindset.
Yeah.
And so, women have really had to step up. I have had to step up to show that, it's not what you maybe thought it was 100 years ago or even 50 years ago for that matter. Women are super women.
Yes.
I mean,
we own it.
We have magic.
Yes.
We are very special in the world, and I think more and more people are realizing that as time is going on, and as we've been allowed the opportunities to be full-time in the workplace and still show that we can juggle being a spouse and having kids and being a caregiver and all of those things, and don't question if we can or we can't do it, because we're proving that we can.
Yeah.
And so if you just give us the opportunity, we will show you that we can. And granted, on the other end of the spectrum, not every woman is the same in that vein, because there are also women in society who maybe choose to not have families.
Right.
So maybe they're not married, and maybe they don't have children, and maybe they are fully dedicated to their careers, and you don't know that looking at a woman either. So you can't make these assumptions going in that this person can or can't, they don't have time and this and that. You have no idea. So just like you would anyone of any gender, give them an opportunity, give a woman an opportunity, and you may be very surprised what you find when you do.
Or in this instance, both of us in here, we make our opportunities. You make it with SBR, and we're, carry the full term is something that was new to me, that was birthed out of a need. And so I appreciate, oh my gosh, Dr. Ricks, I think I could sit here for another hour with you. You're fabulous, you're amazing. I appreciate your ability, you being vulnerable and sharing, and I thank you so much for all your sharing about your success. Thank you for sharing about the struggles that led to this triumph, which is exactly what it is, and I'm so inspired. I don't know what to do with myself. Congratulations on the article that's coming out. When it comes out, please let us know so we could tag it onto this and we could share with our community. And thank you for your support, your commitment, and dedication to the women and the families here at organization, but to me and to the mission and to the vision that that I have, and I just appreciate it so much. I thank you. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
And I don't think we get to spend, and like you're saying, we don't get to spend enough time, and I know our board meetings are done virtually, so we don't even get a lot of this anymore. I know we used to, but I appreciate you so much, and I don't want to miss this opportunity to let you know how I appreciate your leadership, how I appreciate your organizational skills, and the level of influence that you bring to the organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that. We don't know what any one of us are going through or what the other is going through. So thank you for allowing that to resonate with me and serve as a reminder. I can't wait to share this, and I hope that you're able to join us again.
Absolutely.
And to share more. I mean, I don't expect this to be the end of our conversation, because from what I'm hearing, I'm expecting a lot more developments down the road. Thank you, Dr. Ricks, for being here.
Thank you, Mrs. Francis.
This has been a delight.
It has been a delight on my end too. And thank you for all that you do for Carry to Full Term as the executive director, as the founder. You're a hard woman to keep up with because you're in so many different places, doing so many different things. It's so very impressive and it's inspiring to me as well. So thank you for all that you do and for all that you bring to Prince William County and to our country. Oh my God.
You have been listening to the Carry to Full Term Breaking Cycles podcast. To learn more about our organization, visit us online at carriedtofullterm.org. Your host has been Francis Robin. Marketing director has been Emily Enox. Music was provided by Ryan Robin. Thank you for joining us. Visit us again at carriedtofullterm.org to learn more about our mission.